Good afternoon. This video is an introduction to a series I'm going to do about education in this country, mostly historical at the beginning, for I aim to establish as much factual basis as possible before getting too opinionated and judgmental, but there will be plenty of that at the end. There are plenty of videos out there on the history of our education system and plenty on what's wrong with it, and some that even combine the two in a general way, but none that cover my perceived problems with it, while hearkening back to where they began. But just to begin, and to give an idea where this will lead to in the end, I've watched a bunch of videos on a variety of subjects in order to improve my lot in life. Stuff like investing and finance, nutrition, increasing motivation, achieving mental balance, equanimity, and acquiring a feeling of abundance without a lot of stuff. And a recurring point that comes up is people don't know this stuff or have misconceptions about it because it wasn't taught, or the wrong info was taught in school. Robert Kiyosaki of Rich Dad Poor Dad fame often says people are bad with money and end up poor or broke because it's not taught in school. A Buddhist monk in a TED Talk asked, "Were you ever told growing up, focus?" Then, after general assent from the audience, he asked, "Were you ever taught how to focus?" The videos I watched about and by successful people in their chosen field, entrepreneurs, investors, health advocates, motivation and discipline gurus, athletes, special forces members, monks, generally come around to a kindred point. Much of what you learned growing up, what to think, how to behave, ideals to admire and strive for, are useless at best and probably holding you back. The notions that society and culture impresses upon the individual are the same notions that schools teach through their processes and curriculum, and they are largely obedience to authority, appreciation of conformity, a fear of failure, and by extension, a fear of taking risks. And merely by the failure to teach it adequately, one doesn't learn in school the necessity of enduring discomfort in order to achieve anything meaningful. That is basically scratching the surface, but consider anyone you admire who has done anything larger than life, or anyone you want to emulate because they've achieved something spectacular, or just any of the many people who are celebrated for their business acumen, or innovation, or athletic or extreme games prowess, or achievement in any aspect of life, had to either go against the grain of what they were taught and or drop out of school, or suffer the ridicule of family, friends, or society at large, or all of those things. If you're not yet known for it, and you tell anyone, "I'm going to start a billion-dollar company in my garage," or "I'm going to be a great writer," or a rock star, or a record-setting athlete, or a rocket surgeon, you'll get laughed at. Yet we have all those things, and they all came from somewhere. And they all had to develop a mindset which is mightily discouraged in our education system. They had to shuck the mindset that is taught. Be smart enough to find steady employment, listen to and obey your boss and other authority figures, try to relieve any discontent with material possessions, and don't seek a measure of independence or individuality. There is plenty of evidence in the designing of our education system, both in the research of it and the very statements of the people involved in the design, that the intent of public education is pure and simple indoctrination, so the students can be molded to best serve the state and not give the students the tools they need to fulfill their potential, whatever that may be. There is plenty of hard evidence without skewing off into territory that speculates on what was trying to be achieved and how well it accomplished that, but I'd like to add a personal note here. Among the many videos I've watched in trying to improve the quality of my life, optimal health and longevity come up time and again, and how intertwined they are with mental health. And the things that are common among people who share those traits are being out in nature, being part of a close community, serving others, enjoying the work one does, regardless of how routine it may be, being active and eating certain diets. None of the happiest or oldest people in the world ever allude to owning stuff as being important. I mentioned before the necessity of enduring discomfort in order to achieve anything meaningful, and certainly it can be argued there is discomfort in doing chores for your parents, going to school, going through boot camp, practicing on a sports team, but that's not the quality of discomfort I'm talking about. I'm talking about the kind of discomfort you endure when there's no parent, teacher, drill sergeant, or coach to push you, and you must rely on your own resolve. What I'm talking about for the individual is what JFK meant when he applied it to a nation. We choose to do these things not because they are easy, but because they are hard, because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. That is a mindset I'm trying to acquire, and it's hard because I wasn't taught it as a child, because a nation of individuals who think like that is supposedly not in the best interests of the state. All right, so that's the end of the script. This will continue on with stuff that has actually been researched. There's a slew of it out there. I'm going to put some links below, just some of the stuff that got me started on this. I've got dozens of videos to watch. There are hundreds, if not thousands of people out there saying much the same thing. The education system in this country, it works towards one end, towards making the rich richer and making the students more or less obedient cogs in a wheel. And even though that's the end it's designed for, the product you get, the graduate that you get when he leaves school, is not even in the best interests of the state. But the state being this monolithic bureaucracy that's hard to change, for the time being, it's what we're stuck with. The more people who realize how screwed up it is, the more people we have trying to change it into something better, the more likely we are to succeed. And that's what I'm hoping for. All right, thanks again for watching. See you soon.